Oh, quite possibly. At the moment, when I move to the new farm, I am probably going to be doing a lot more with forage harvesters and loading wagons, at least initially. It will limit me. I can't do baling contracts. I can't do straw. But I may, instead of having a small round baler like this, I may look at a square baler, because I really haven't tested square bales out as to whether they are a problem. I can use, let me see, I've got, has anything changed? No, we do have a nice fender though. Okay, telehandler tools or front loader tools? Let's go telehandler tools and okay, I don't have it in telehandler tools. Let's go front loader tools. So something like that. Or that's a round bale handler. Or is it a square bale handler? We have those as well. But it's potentially using... That might actually be a square bale handler. Something like that, to pick up a bale and not stab it, not have something pierce it. And the same with that, is just to use grabs rather than stabbing devices. Maybe a way around the bug that's currently there. Now I haven't tried it, but it's something I'm considering might be a good thing. Anyway, fence still running, so that's good. But anything that makes handling the bales easier, because otherwise I'm going to have to get a hayloft. What else do we need? A lot of silage clamps. I'm probably going with silage clamps anyway, because as I said, I'm going to be foraging a lot of a lot of crop. So rather than mowing and baling, I will be foraging in some manner, possibly with a big tractor, and then sticking stuff into silage clamps, so it will quite possibly have multiple silage clamps, possibly 2 or possibly 3 or more, so that I can silage grass in one, silage maize in another one, and then as I've got another grass field to silage, I can load that into the spare clamp and then empty the one that was being used for feed, probably for sale. But cycle them that way. When always have at least one empty, so that whatever crop is ready to go. Yeah, I think the grabs may be better. And what I can do is next time I do a thing on the thing. Next time I shred some bales, what I might do is get a bale grab up to the farm that fits on the telehandler. Just see if we have any issues with that. If we don't, then round bales is going to be an option. But I'm going to have to use the grab, which is... It's not too bad, I think, on a telehandler. So... That would be... Oh, am I not going to finish the bale? Please finish the bale. Oh. Yes. I don't want to be running across the headland while oh, we missed a bit. It's okay. So yeah, the prime goal here is to leave the bales in the row, not on the headlands, because on the headlands it's going to get in my way on the way back. Don't seem to be producing a lot of bales here though. There is that. And there's an in-game grab, which will... That's the thing, the in-game grab will grab any size of bale. The Goviel is very limited into what bales it can grab. Which, you know, it's one of the things that discourages me from using that pack. It's got a round baler. It's got a round baler that will do all the sizes, and then it's got a bale wrapper that will only do the smallest size. And at the same time, Giants gave us the Massey, Ferguson and Fendt baler wrappers, which will do the medium-sized bales to wrap. So the Goviel is, well, that's a disincentive for me to use that piece of equipment. The bale grabs in the Goviel pack will only handle the smallest and medium-sized bales in some situations. They won't handle the largest ones. So in this situation, I am producing large round bales, and that grab is useless to me. So again, disincentive to use the pack. There is nothing in the Goviel pack that I look at and say, oh yeah, that's good. I would prefer to use a Vicon fast bale or Kubota fast bale to the Goviel baler, because I have to keep stopping and transferring the bale from the chamber to the wrapper. It's one of the reasons I kept this baler around, because it does all the sizes, and the only thing I produce with it is hay and straw. Everything else I put through the Fendt wrapper, whether it's whole crop or grass silage or what. I'm hoping maize silage. We do have a silage clamp on the farm, so if I can't cut and wrap a maize bale, that's not a big deal. We'll just create a clamp full of maize and bury it under a wrapper or under wrap. Okay, we might not get to the end here. This is looking good. So we're very slowly with each row. It looks like, no, 9,000 I want. We're not going to make it. I will get the end. Lift up the collector so I can do this without. And I didn't turn hard enough there. Oh, maybe I did. Awesome stuff. And the other option is, yeah, I can stick to the grabs in the yard and just use an auto load trail for bringing them in off the field. It's a shame because early on I was using a 3-point bale spike and a front loader bale spike to bring 2 bales off the field at the same time. Sadly, that's not practical with the bale bugs. Oh, now one thing I did notice So we're getting 2 weeders in the... come on, finish up. 2 weeders in the horse pack. One of them... weeders there. Looks like this one. A little bit like this one. This is a hoe. It is a hoe. It's also got this fancy little feature that you line up on the field, you start driving down the field. These heads shift sideways by small amounts to keep the business end of the hoe between the crop rows. So the crop would be here, and the crop would be here, and the working part of the hoe is there, which is kind of cute. So that's obviously one of the features that Giants is going to patch into the main game. I'm not sure it's going to be a feature of anyone's weeders or hoes as far as mods are concerned. But yeah, we are getting a weeder and a hoe. We're getting, I think it was 1 seeder and then a couple of direct seeders, a couple of planters, a seed tank like the kern. So if we go to seeders, like there, we're getting a thing like that you can put either seed or fertilizer in. So for our setup, we've got a seeder that does not have fertilizer. You could put that tank on the front and allow it to spread fertilizer and seed simultaneously, and whoops, not paying attention. Let's carefully shrug that back, and off we go again. And then cultivators and I think mulchers as well. So might look into a mulcher from Horsch. I do remember, I think it was Farm Sim 19 on Oakfield Farm. I did select what had been the Horsch aggravation seeder, and it did all sorts of wandering around the map in the shed, and so much so that it rotated that I couldn't get a tractor on the hitch because it was at right angles to where I'd parked it. So we got rid of that and went with a different one, and the different one didn't have any problems at all. So it's a thing. Alrighty. And turn around here and back down the field. And oh, I should go check on the windrower at some point. Maybe when we finish this bale. And he crashed into a tree. Of course he did. I don't even know where I am here. Ah, yes I do. Actually, no, I don't. I have no idea where I am on this field. Oh, this is the long. This is the cardinal edge. We've made it to. Probably should lift that. Again, this end is not looking the greatest. Yeah, we've ended up rowing this at is it 157 degrees rather than a 60, 90, 120 type of thing, or 60, 90, 180. No, 0, 90, 180, 270, which is how you normally end up doing workers. But, alright, let's lift that up and see what's happening over here. I think we're very close to, we are actually close to the end, so this is just a tidy up and go. Nice. So again, I'm going to have to take a little bit of supervision time out to run this over to the last contract field. This, in spite of the fact everybody uses this, and a lot of people say, oh, I want to use something else. This is so much easier to use than the Vermeer. So you either use this one because you've got smaller fields where the big one just gets impractical. I mean, these fields aren't too bad, but some of the fields on this map, they're short enough that yeah, your turn. This is adequate, and it will clear the working width into a single row without too much lead on. Whereas the bigger ones, they can't get a row at the front, which is why they have 4 or 6 rotaries on them. Consequently, oh, this is an old tractor. Yeah, consequently, it's difficult to do the edges of the fields with them, or at least do them in rows, because the ends of the rows will almost always get missed, unless you're working on some US style map where there's just acres of grassland around the edge of the field that you're working. There's no hedges or fences to get in your way. So this one tends to be the most practical of all of the windrowers. You can use the little one single rotaries, but then you have to go up and down to create a combination row that's at the end of the day as big as this one. There's a fairly cheap triple row, or triple, but it rows to the side, so you have to go up and down to actually combine the row into something practical. But then that said, if you want to use a fast bale, you don't want a big row, because the deeper the row, the slower the baler has to run in order to time the release of the bale and wrapper to be a continuous job. So the fast bales are really designed for someone who has a single side or a single front and not doing much in the way of rowing. let's get this lined up here. And you are good. Actually, I'm going to turn the worker off, stick it in drive, and then turn the worker on. And then we can go back to this guy. And off we go again. So what else is there? Yes, so as I was saying, a lot more foraging. We'll try out some of the foraging equipment, possibly not a forage harvester to start off with. I'll start off with a tractor and the forage attacher on the front and see how that works out for us. I am likely to be doing cows again. I may do some of the other animals as well. I still need to do sheep breeding and pig breeding, but they may be a lower level of animal on Glenleithen that we end up doing, and I may delay introducing them. Probably not going to have a robot feeder because we already know that struggles and quite frankly uses up nearly a lot of mineral feed to keep the cows fed, whereas with a feed mixer we can do whatever we want. Including feeding the animals canola or soybeans. Canola might be a good feed for cows. Just because I've watched a couple of guys doing videos on what's the best crop to do, and in general the more labour you have to put in it, the more valuable the crop is. So potatoes, although you keep some of the potatoes over as seed stock for the next year, but you do make a lot of money per acre, although you do have a lot of things to, you do have a lot of product to move per acre. Some people have the break point of, I'm not doing sugar beets or potatoes because it's just too much work. But you only have to do one harvest a year, and it's a big income. Back on Oakfield, we were making most of our field purchases off the sugar beet harvest, and then the rest of the crops, cereals and sunflowers and canola, were generally feed crops or sale crops, but they kept the farm running so that I could afford to do the other stuff, like buy seed and buy fertilizer. But it turns out that canola is possibly the worst crop you can grow. As a starting crop, it's great. It uses the least amount of seed outside of oilseed radish, which isn't a crop that you can sell. So when you're starting up a farm, if you've got a limited amount of money to buy seed, canola's the way to go. Unfortunately, you then lose out if you're playing precision farming. You need way more fertilizer on canola, and if you're just starting out, you do not have the slurry and manure to do the field so that you can maximize that. So you're not getting the best yield if you do it that way. But then again, if you're doing oats, barley, wheat, whatever, they still need a lot of fertilizer. And then at the end of the day, when you're harvesting, canola is a very easy crop because it's very low density and very high high value. So you can harvest a lot of the field before you need to empty the harvester. The problem is it's really not a good value crop when compared with volume. You get more return off something like soybeans or wheat, barley, oats, etc. Especially if you collect the straw off of the wheat, barley and oats. Although straw is negligible value and you don't get a significant amount of it, it adds up. So it is actually worth doing. And I did not row this end of the field. I didn't realise it needed doing. That's a shame. Yes, I'm going to be finagling with the baler to get as much of that as I can. So, as far as at the point of the first harvest, canola is probably the thing you least want. It's the least valuable, and therefore may make a good food source because you'll get more return sticking it in an animal than you will sticking it in a sell point, or even taking it to the oil mill and doing it that way. Potentially, we could gain with the premium expansion. I mean, rumours that there will be potato chip factories, and potato chip factories might need potatoes and oil, which means that doing sunflowers or canola will increase the value of your potatoes if you also buy the oil mill. So, that is a potential. And an encouragement to grow canola. But it's the same with the cereal crops. If I'm doing whole crop silage, I'm going to use barley because barley produces more seed than the other whole crop crops. However, I might be able to get that out. Oh, just off the row. Come on. Boop. There we go. So whole crop silage I will do as barley. If I'm doing pig feed with a cereal, I'm going to do barley because barley has this is awkward. Can I make that turn, or am I going to hit the edge of the map? Probably hit the edge of the map. Okay. Okay. I think what I'll do is I'll run over here and go round again.